Welcome, and thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy this video, we invite those of you who haven't yet done so, to like, comment, share, subscribe, and click the notification icon, to be notified when the next one is uploaded. We'd like to urge those of you who haven't yet done so, to sign our online petition for an inquiry into the BBC and Channel 4's coverage of Lewis Hamilton and Abu Dhabi. A link has been provided in the description. If you are on X, then please repost our tweet. Thank you. In our previous video we set out how whichever way you cut it, Tsunoda's promotion to the senior team is bad news for Max Verstappen and Red Bull. This is primarily because if he does well, then Red Bull have the problem of clipping his wings so he doesn't outshine Max, and if he doesn't do well, they have the problem of why their academy has failed to produce graduates that can drive their car, or why their second seat is so toxic. Little did we expect that Christian Horner would go on live TV to confirm everything that we've been saying, but that's exactly what he did during his interview with Sky Sports F1 after FP1. We have reproduced a copy of that interview for your attention. It should be noted that in this clip, the Sky team casually repeat the uncorroborated claims that are routinely applied to Max. And as we all know, a lie often repeated takes on the appearance of truth, but thankfully, after such extensive gaslighting, an unprepared Horner started debunking some of these untruths on live television. Have a listen.
Welcome back. Well, Yuki Tsunoda seemed pretty satisfied with his first hour of practice in the Red Bull there. Interesting, he described it as. They're a little bit off Lando Norris. In fact, half a second Max Verstappen was, but just over a tenth outside of his teammate. Is a good start, Jack, Naomi?
It is a great start, and he was very controlled. He drove, even his answers on the radio were very calm. They were not Yuki Tsunoda type of answers, which was nice to see. He worked gradually. He pushed hard, probably harder than Verstappen had to push, but still, he's very close. We haven't seen a Verstappen teammate that close for a long time.
It helps that he knows the circuit and he's grown up racing here.
It will help, but we can't deny the fact that, he's had no time in the car pre-season testing, so he is really coming into this on the back foot despite the simulator time that he's had. So I think it's an excellent start. I think some of the graphs sort of suggested that maybe his engines were turned up a little bit. We'll ask Christian about that later, I guess, but I have to say, he's in the game, and that's what we haven't seen from a teammate from Max in a long time. So exciting stuff so far.
Yeah, we can ask him right now.
So, it is universally agreed that finishing just over a tenth away from his teammate on his very first outing in the car was a feather in Yuki's cap, and a concern for his teammate who the car was built for. But note how Jacques was damning Tsunoda with faint praise and suggesting that we are witnessing a driver who was more controlled and more matured than he used to be, who probably pushed harder than Max had to. This poignant reminder of the more excitable aspect of Yuki's character could possibly manifest itself at any time during the season, so we'll keep an eye on that. However, what was more striking was the suggestion that he had to be pushing harder than Max to be so close. This was just a clumsy attempt to gaslight Max's legend, because in reality every driver should be giving their all in every session, so the suggestion, as flawed as it was, should have been a criticism. Now, we know that Jacques has criticized Max heavily in the past, and that is why in John Malone style he had to be brought inside the fold to muzzle him to a certain degree. But unless you are completely soulless like Martin, it doesn't last. It didn't with Damon and Johnny, so we'll see how long it lasts with Jacques. Simon on his part suggested that Yuki would have been helped by knowing the track very well, but we already heard from Helmut Marko that Liam Lawson knew the track just as well, and in any event this was his first outing in the car that Max had been driving since 2016 at a track that he has visited 9 times. So, this is just confirmation bias Sky Sports style. The statement is a sham that appears to be weighty but is actually weightless. Naomi, on her part, was quick to shut down Simon's attempt, but she then went on to suggest that perhaps Yuki's engine was turned up higher than Max's, thereby giving the impression that they were all looking to see who could gas Max up the best. Then in walks Christian to inadvertently put all their gaslights out. After the obligatory compliments to Yuki, he was asked whether they had made a mistake in promoting Liam ahead of Yuki.
Christian, an interesting session, but a good sesh is the words of Yuki. How would you judge that one?
Look, I think, it was certainly a good start for Yuki, settling into the car pretty well. Obviously, quite a different feel, probably to what he's used to. But I thought he settled in. He gave very good feedback, and now both drivers working away to improve the car for the next session.
Christian, did you make a mistake in the first place, not putting Yuki in instead of Liam?
I think, as I said previously to Craig, that with hindsight, I think we just asked too much too soon from Liam, and we've got a lot of work to do with the car, and unfortunately, I think that it's sometimes you've got to be cruel to be kind. But
his claim that they had asked too much too soon of Liam is an admission that they got it wrong managerially, but following that up with "you have to be cruel to be kind" is the complete antithesis of their earlier claim that they were fulfilling their duty of care. But of course the Sky presenters and other F1 media will overlook that. This is exactly how they enable gaslighting. They allow Red Bull to make obvious misrepresentations in real time, and ignore it when they contradict themselves further down the line.
Well, that's got to be some seriously promising stuff, though, from Yuki. I mean, to have no time in the car pre-season, to come in and just be a 10th off of Max already, looks like great stuff. Some of the splits on the timing did look a little bit like he may have had his engine turned up. Can you confirm if that's the case or not at all?
No, they were both identical engine mode. So
there you have it. After initially acknowledging the good work that Yuki had done, Naomi tried to get her bias about Max's legend confirmed, but the unprepped Christian debunked her premise. So, on identical engine modes, the longest-serving junior who had been overlooked previously was within 1/10 of the generational talent that deserved to steal his so-called first title off the GOAT, after he needed 2 safety cars, 2 sets of fresh tires, his teammate backing up the GOAT, only the 5 cars between them being allowed to unlap themselves and the safety car coming in 1 lap early. This is how they gas Verstappen up in real time, because it doesn't really matter that their attributes are fake and hollow confirmation bias, it just matters that they are repeated often and loudly. On his debut, Tsunoda, the driver that they had least confidence in, came within 1/10 of the time set by their false god, and attempting to suggest that this was because their consummate professional was taking it easy, or Yuki had his settings turned up, or he knew the circuit better. Despite his debut in the tricky car that Max had been driving since 2016 and was designed specifically to suit his driving style, is just evidence of how gassed up Max's legend is. Unfortunately for them, they forgot to prep Christian beforehand, but at least they are safe in the knowledge that all F1 media will see nothing wrong with a little bump and grind, but look where it got R. Kelly. They can bump and grind all over Max and Red Bull as much as they want, but looks like the music is going to stop this season. As we said previously, it would be most satisfying to see Max going up on a podium that Red Bull ordered Yuki to give up to him. Forza Ferrari.